The White House remains determined to finalize a deal between Washington and Kyiv on rare earth metals. Both the Ukrainian and American sides confirm that negotiations are ongoing.
Trump wants rare earths because the American economy is highly dependent on Chinese sources, and it's an economic and national security risk. So, reason number one. Reason number two is that there are not so many American companies who are able to mine and produce rare earths within the US. Reason number two. And reason number three is that, I mean, there is Ukrainian. We have these commodities right there. And in order to avoid that the Chinese will take over Ukrainian rare earths commodities and build up potential mines there, it's an option for the Americans. And reason number four is to make the Ukrainians pay for the American military support.
However, during a meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, Donald Trump stated that the US is also considering economic agreements with Russia, specifically regarding access to Russian rare earth resources. Trump did not provide details, but in response to the White House's statements, the Kremlin convened a meeting to discuss the development of Russia's rare earth metals sector.
I've spoken to President Putin, and my people are dealing with him constantly, and his people in particular. And they want to do something. I mean, that's what I do. I do deals. My whole life is deals. That's all I know is deals.
The extraction of rare earth metals that the Kremlin leader has offered the US in response to Trump's statements is controlled by a close Putin ally. Previously, this individual used a presidential decree to nationalize Russia's largest rare earth producer, transferring control to the state corporation Rosatom. This was reported by investigative journalists from the media project Current Time and Radio Free Europe investigative unit Sistema. According to their findings, Rosatom has close ties to Mikhail Kovalchuk, a key member of its Scientific and Technological Council. Meanwhile, the corporation's supervisory board is chaired by Sergei Kiriyenko, a longtime associate of Kovalchuk.
Instead of becoming a bridge between China and the West, Russia has turned into a battlefield where these global players fight over its resources. Putin's statements about offering rare earth metals to the U.S. are far from what the so-called Russian Ivan believed he was fighting for, thinking he was battling NATO, when in reality he was dying so that Putin could sell off Russia to the West and China. The Kremlin is auctioning off national wealth because Putin has already drained all other resources to fund his war. Andriy Kovalenko, head of the Center for Countering Disinformation at the National Security and Defense Council, on Telegram.
Meanwhile, as negotiations between Kyiv and Washington continue, media reports have surfaced suggesting that the European Union has also proposed a rare earth deal with Ukraine. However, officials in Brussels have denied these claims.
Since 2021, the EU has a partnership on critical raw materials with Ukraine, formalized through our Memorandum of Understanding. So this dates back 4 years ago. As with all the EU critical raw materials partnerships that we have, this cooperation is not only about securing supply chains for the EU, but also about fostering local value creation and capacity building in partner countries, ensuring mutual benefits. Now, as you see, this is really here about cooperation with Ukraine and not about any sort of competition with the US.
At the same time, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy insists that any agreement signed by Kyiv must include security guarantees, otherwise it would be meaningless. A previously U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent admitted in an interview with Fox News that the deal proposed by Washington does not include direct military guarantees.
Our teams are already working productively with the U.S. on economic agreement, which we hope to sign in Washington. And President Trump, we would really like to hear from you, because all our people, all our families are very worried. Will there be support from America? Will America be the leader of the free world? And I want to be very honest with you. For our people, for life in general, it's so important that American support, American assistance remains. And really, I believe we can be just as effective in securing real guarantees for peace.
Furthermore, President Zelenskyy has urged his American counterpart Donald Trump to meet as soon as possible to discuss guarantees for Ukraine's security and peace. He made this appeal during a meeting of G7 leaders in which the US president participated virtually. Reported by Serhiy Kulas, Larissa Petruk, UATV News.
Ukraine is among the world's 10 largest suppliers of mineral resources. The report of the World Economic Forum for July 2024 states that there are about 20,000 mineral deposits on the territory of the country. Before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, about 15% of these deposits were active. Ukraine has significant potential as a major global supplier of critical raw materials for defense, high-tech, aerospace, and green energy. In 2022, Canadian consulting firm SecDev estimated the full value of all of Ukraine's mineral resources at $26 trillion, including coal, gas, and oil.
Ukraine is a key potential supplier of rare earth metals including titanium, lithium, beryllium, magnesium, gallium, uranium, zirconium, graphite, apatite, fluorite, and nickel. Despite the war, Ukraine holds the largest titanium reserves in Europe, 7% of the world's reserves. It is one of the few countries that mine titanium ores, crucial for the aerospace, medical and automotive and marine industries. From the World Economic Forum's July 2024 report.
President of the USA, Donald Trump, has expressed interest in Ukrainian resources, offering the United States military support in return. United States Geological Survey considers 50 minerals critical for the country's economy and national security. Among them are several types of rare earth elements, as well as nickel and lithium, which Ukraine possesses.
We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earth. We want what we put up to go in terms of a guarantee. We want a guarantee. We're handing them money hand over fist. We're giving them equipment. So we're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earth and other things.
Kyiv has talked before about Western states' access to valuable Ukrainian resources. The fourth point of Ukraine's victory plan mentions joint investments and the use of critical metals.
Ukraine offers a special agreement for the joint protection of Ukraine's critical resources, shared investment and use of its economic potential. We are talking about natural resources, including critically important metals worth trillions of US dollars. From a publication on the website of the Office of the President of Ukraine. Ukraine has articulated more than once to Trump that we have these metals. Moreover, even during the Democratic administration of Joe Biden in 23rd and 24th years, some Republican senators such as Lindsey Graham told Ukraine that this is the track to work on, that this is what Republicans and Trump are interested in. We heard it, we started passing this information, and now it has reached Donald Trump.
Not everyone in Europe welcomed the statement by the US president. For example, Chancellor of Germany Olaf Scholz does not consider the White House's proposal to swap valuable Ukrainian resources for US arms expediently.
We should use the country's resources to finance everything that it needs after the war. It would be very selfish and very self-centered to say we are using the money to fund defense support now. It is about Ukraine having a strong army in the future, and it is about Ukraine being able to finance its reconstruction. In view of the huge destruction, these are major tasks facing Ukraine. That's why I think it would be better if Ukraine's resources were used for a good future. Olaf Scholz, Chancellor of Germany, from a publication by another agency.
The Kremlin also reacted to Donald Trump's statement. Putin's spokesman Peskov said that it would be better if the US withdrew its support for Ukraine altogether. Moscow's reaction is predictable. After all, according to President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, deposits of critical resources in Ukraine are among the key targets of the aggressor country. Reported by Nikita Skoblikov, UATV News.